Well, here we are then for another F1 My Team episode, and this one is the Austrian Grand Prix. Now, first of all, let's quickly recap the last race. If you haven't seen it, spoilers ahead. Big spoilers, by the way. Go check it out, the French Grand Prix. But we arrive here at Austria with some big momentum and a big boost to our confidence. The reason for that is because the last race we picked up our first win and podium of the season. So that has given us a chance and may have got us back in the mix this weekend and moving forward hopefully in the title fight. Now we brought some upgrades this weekend, we've got more on the way as well. There's not a lot left in terms of outright performance upgrades. As you can see, the weather forecast here, we've got rain for qualifying and the race. But yeah, the performance upgrades are almost done. We've only got like 4 or 5 left. The other ones are just tyre wear upgrades, fuel consumption or fuel efficiency upgrades, which aren't going to really impact the car's outright pace. So yeah, I think the car, it turned the corner in Monaco and Canada, and that continued in France, and it's the case here this weekend as well. Having said that, this track and also the next one, Silverstone, are 2 very strong tracks for the AI. Nonetheless, focusing on qualifying, you saw me just overtake Charles Leclerc, who was on an outlap, and he refused to get out of the way. As I've mentioned before, recently the AI are terrible at the moment. As we finish our first time lap, we go P7 on pretty much just monsoon conditions here, full wet tyres on as the rain buckets down in the Red Bull ring. But we're going to stay out, do a couple of laps basically, a multi-lap run. We actually make an absolute mess of the final 2 corners here, and we're only going to improve by about less than a tenth on our second push lap. I then actually decided to back off and let Leclerc go by because he was stressing me out, being right behind me the whole time. And I went for a cool down lap, and then I went for another push lap. And on this final push lap, I was a tenth and a half down, so I wasn't really improving. Possibility of the track starting to dry up and intermediates were the option, but we have a moment out of turn number 6, I believe, or turn 5, and luckily we managed to keep it at the barriers as we tried to skate our way back onto track. But a bit of a moment there in the mid stage of Q1. Now we swapped to the inters for the closing stages of this session, and we're going to stay on board because the track is going to be constantly improving all the way down to the last second, so timing here is key, and getting a lap in towards the end is going to be a really key thing. So we go P1 at the time, faster than Sainz, who is the only car so far to have done a lap on inters, so interesting to note that we're faster than Sainz. We kept out there for another lap as we pass Sebastian Vettel, and you can see here we're 2.5 tenths up here, so we improve yet again and extend our lead at the top as we set a pretty decent lap there with a purple second sector. And we're going to stay out for one more lap. Now, you can see the timer in the top left. This is going to be our last lap in Q1, so we have to make this count. And I'm well aware that every single car on track right now is set in lap times with an improving surface, so we can't slow down. We have to keep pushing. And even though we're P1, we're still not safe because we're also not going to get the benefit of a manual in-lap, which means the AI may well set some dodgy lap times on the time simulation once we cross the line. So we can't leave anything to chance. And you can see here we're a tenth up, making our way down towards turn number 5 or turn 6, I believe. We actually find a bit of time mid-corner and we increase our lead even more as we go purple again in sector 2. Turn 7, I'll get it a bit wrong, but we managed to correct it and get a really strong exit and bring back the advantage that we had. And now into the final couple of corners, Pierre Gasly goes P1 from McLaren. Not a lot faster than us though, less than a tenth, which gives me a good vibe that we might actually be okay here as we find loads of time in the final part of the lap. We improved by 2 tenths going purple in sector 3 as well, and that is going to be it for Q1 as we go P10. Eventually all the remaining cars set their lap times, which admittedly were a bit bugged out. They're not accurate because we was only half a tenth off Gasly in P2, yet somehow we're nearly a second off by the end of Q1. Either way, the car felt fantastic in the wet conditions and I was punching above my weight because in Q2 it started off wet and went to dries halfway through, and I was the first one to brave it out on the soft tyres to see what the conditions were like. And to be fair, it weren't great as we have our second spin of qualifying. Now, I will admit, we need the track to dry out here, but I got my timings a little bit wrong. In hindsight, I think I should have pit after this spin because I would have liked to have had a better chance in the final run. You'll see here, I actually stayed out on those same tyres. I went for a cool down lap and then a second push, and this second push lap wasn't spectacular. Still no representative dry lap times to aim for as we cross the line, setting a 1 minute 1.4. Go P1 for now, but I know that's not going to cut it. And you can see here now with the session is now finished actually, and the flag has dropped. We're currently on another fresh set of soft tyres, pushing again, but the pace isn't there in the dry. We're 3/10 up right now, making our way through the final couple of corners, but unfortunately I invalidate at the final corner, and we crossed the line to improve by 2.5 tenths. But even with that improvement, had it been legal, it wouldn't have changed our position because we finished P16 and the only man in the 1 minute ones. The fastest time was a 59.4, which is 2 seconds faster. I think there was a bit of time sim glitch again because there were cars on laps at the end, which will benefit them naturally. But also myself, I didn't quite get a clean lap on the softs in that last 6 minutes of the session. So I think that was also a bit of a shame, just making mistakes, and the car wasn't fully dialed up. So yeah, a bit of a shame really, as we finished P16 after such a strong Q1. Q2 was a bit of a whimper. Anyway, P16 for the race. Let's see how we get on, and also worth noting, mixed conditions ahead.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Ricciardo, Russell, Vettel and Esteban Ocon, Giovinazzi, Bottas, Lance Stroll and Matsushita, Latifi, Martinez, Callum Eilert and Christian Lundgaard, Tsunoda, Michael Schumacher, Mazepin and Mick Schumacher. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So this race is going to be quite a big one. We start from P16 on the grid. Now we are going to get the free tyre choice because of course there was rain in qualifying and also we got knocked out in Q2. So for us, we're going to start in the medium because the weather forecast is quite the interesting one. We only have one single rain icon. Now usually whenever I've had that in the past, it's not usually enough rain to mean going on to the intermediates. You usually stay out on the dries. So we'll see how that goes. In principle, I'm going to start on the medium, go for the alt strat, one stop it onto the softs later on. That's the plan. Fuel-wise, I'm running 0.5 under, so 0.5 negative. I don't think that rain is going to disrupt things too much, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, it should be a fun race with some changeable conditions once again. I think changeable weather for the third race in a row, so that gives us an opportunity to try and get some points once again. So let's jump into it. Let's try and turn this around, and let's see if at the end of it, maybe we have like a top 5, maybe top 8 finish. We'll see how it goes though. Either way, let's get into the Austrian Grand Prix. Right, let's do this. Fingers crossed. A decent start. 5 lights. We're underway. Oof, not the best start. We're going to take the outside line though, which is probably where you want to be, as there's more space and you avoid going over that inside curb, which is really, really unsettling. Good start though. P16, we've held on. We've got Lundgaard looking for a move on softs in the Aston Martin. We've got Latifi ahead on mediums, which, you know, it would be nice if we could pass him. As we go towards turn 3, we're going to see if we can nail the traction, which we do. And we get ourselves back ahead of Lundgaard for now. Seems like we're down on straight line speed though quite badly. Down to turn 4, Matsushita and Latifi side by side. Got Bottas ahead of them, so Valtteri having a bit of a poor start or possibly a grid penalty. Either way, he's out of position compared to where he usually would be. Seems like I can't see anybody in the distance on mediums, so Latifi I think is the first car on the medium tyre alt strat. So if we can pass Nicholas, that would be great for our race. Either way, lap 1 draws to a close. We've got some 2 wide action there between Bottas and I think that's Esteban Ocon. As we have a moment over the curb, that's going to put us under pressure here from Christian Lundgaard. Here he goes, down towards turn 1, we're going to have to defend the inside. Lundgaard goes a long way around. We're not having it, and we're actually going to convert defense into attack as we try to challenge Latifi and Matsushita here, the pair of them, on the run up to turn 3. 3 wide into the apex. Is that going to work? Still 3 wide. Who's going to get the traction? All of us. Still 3 wide. but we're lacking the straight line speed to make a difference. Gonna have to just back off here and be intelligent. Maybe we can have a look somewhere else, or maybe not. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Just losing time really, which is far from ideal, as these two are still going at it and they're brake checking constantly, so it's really costing us time. Eventually now I think the Alpha's got ahead, and Latifi's gonna have to give up on that one for now. But this is not good because we've dropped out of DRS range of the cars in front, so we're going to need Matsushita to drag us along. I feel like I might be able to pass Latifi. Last lap he had the slipstream from Matsushita. This time not so much. He's dropped off a little bit, so let's see if we can maybe have a look at the Williams up towards turn 3. On the brakes, up the inside. Massive, massive dive bomb, but we make it work. Cleanly through, up to P15. And we can now slot in behind the soft runners as we become, I believe, the lead medium tyre runner in this race. The weather has quickly turned overcast here. I want to see what the update is.
Rain is imminent. Rain is imminent. Be careful out there. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
That's interesting. That is a lot earlier than scheduled, so we're going to get a lot of rain, it seems already. But maybe it won't last long, so we're probably on the right tyre, I think, long-term wise, if it doesn't switch to inters. Oh my god, there's been a huge crash. Someone was going to the pit lane there.
Green flag.
Possible damage.
Some information on Stroll. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car. The officials are deploying the safety car due to multiple cars being stopped on track. Mind your delta.
Right, well, safety car deployed. That could be interesting. Massive crash. I saw the car going to the pit lane. And obviously just the nature of the pit entry means that the AI have collected him. So big crash there. We're up to P12 in this race now. And we're on the right tyre. We can stay out on these. So whatever happens, it's looking pretty decent. But that is a big moment in this race. Well, here we go. It's starting to rain. Now then, let's ask.
10 minutes left of this rain. Then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes. Dries seem like the best tyre for now.
So it looks like we're going to have to try and drive through this. It is going to be just a bit of a short sprinkle. Sainz does pit, so we're going to gain a place up to P11. And already on the cusp of points. But on this medium tyre, strategy-wise, it's looking pretty decent. There was a moment where Lando and Verstappen were really far away, those two. But because of the safety car, their lead has been neutralised. And suddenly now, our race looks a lot better on paper, thanks to that safety car. So the timing of that has worked out beautifully for us. Now it's going to be all about surviving these mixed conditions, which won't be easy.
ETA on this rain clearing up is about 10 minutes, so just keep your concentration out there. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Well, that's the message as we get ready for the restart.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
That's the Inter's call.
Got that confirmed?
Some cars are taking it, some are not. I'm going to take a chance to stay out because we're on the better dry tyre strategy. Let's see how this goes.
Michael is coming in for his stop.
I think it's worth a gamble, I really do.
Okay, clear.
It's 10 minutes. That's about 6 laps.
In this lap, push now.
If we drive through this, it could be big bonuses for us. But then again, it might get too wet to drive through. Feels okay at the minute. It doesn't feel too bad. Like, this is quite manageable. Like, we're not super slow, where the Inters are going to like eat us up in terms of pace.
We're no longer sure that these tyres are the right ones. It might be time to come in and change.
Well, it might be time to change, but I am not changing, Jeff. We're staying out. I'm going to roll the dice, man. If this works out and we get a win, like in France, mate, this gets us right back in the mix, and it's not even funny. So we're going to try and drive through this. See what happens. Oh, the grip is starting to really go now. Bottas is going to pit now, so we're going to be the only car out there. I think this is now the wrong call. The track has gone the wrong way this lap quite a lot, quite badly. But, oh well, risk it. We can afford to get passed by everybody, and even then they've got to stop again for dry as well. We just stay out, so we'll gain that time back. So we can afford to get overtaken, caught up, overtaken by everybody, and then they pull out a pit stop gap over us, and we can still be in the window technically. So Let's see.
Okay, we definitely think the
Oh.
intermediates are the way to go now. We're seeing standing water on the track, and I don't see it drying out anytime soon.
What
the
a
safety
call.
car is out. We need you to reduce your pace. It looks like there's a high amount of debris on the track.
Well, this is huge. We have got a safety car, which means I should be able to drive through the worst of this weather.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
This might just bail me out. This might be the key moment. Look at this though. Russell P2, Latifi P3, which is insane. So the timing of their switch to the Inters has worked out beautifully. Norris is ahead of Verstappen as well, which is a bonus. So, yeah, this is fantastic. This is. Let's just try and survive. Keep the car on the track in these dodgy conditions. But if we can get through the safety car phase, we could be winning here big time. I must admit, this rain is taking a long time to pass. It said 10 minutes of rain about 4 laps ago, and there's been like safety cars and stuff, and it's still a while away.
We anticipate an end to this rain in around 5 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
5 minutes. Can I hold on for 5 minutes? We'll get one more lap on the safety car. And, oh no, never mind. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Oh no.
We're looking at some imminent gearbox issues. Watch out for jams and missed gears.
Of all the races, the one race where I thought we pulled out an absolute masterclass with the strategy. And that is it. Well, just when we got our championship back on track, it's gone.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here in Spielberg, and rightly so, a brilliant effort from the whole team. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack, and having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
Now that is not what I had in mind, man. You know, that is that's a painful one. These things always happen at the worst time. After finally winning the last race and maybe giving myself a chance, a prayer, you know, the slightest chance of the championship, we've been hit with the worst possible outcome. And not just that, Verstappen ended up winning the race, so he's going to pick up 25 points over us. And it's pretty much game over. I think the gap is now 79 points in the Drivers' Championship between us. Lando P2 with the fastest lap. Gasly P3 from McLaren ahead of Bottas. Leclerc, Russell, Ricciardo, Perez down in P8. Sainz and Vettel scoring the final point. Missing out the top 10, Tsunoda, Ocon, Giovinazzi, Lundgaard, Latifi, Ilott, Matsushita, Schumacher, Mazepin, and then myself and Stroll out of the race. Standings wise, as I said, spot on, 79 points off Verstappen in P7. A big hammer blow in the championship. That is exactly what we didn't want. And we could have probably won that race, so I at least had a chance, because I think that strategy was the way to go. It would have been tough on the restart, but again, we could have afforded to have lost a whole pit stop window to the leader, and we still would have been in front, because I wouldn't have to stop for the Inters to swap them around. So the plan was to go straight to the softs, and it would have worked out beautifully. So yeah, it's frustrating, to be honest with you. Instead of having possibly, 65 points right now, we're now still stuck on 40. So yeah, it is what it is. In the Constructors, we're P7, 3 points behind Aston Martin, equal on points with AlphaTauri, but we're ahead on count back thanks to me getting a race win. So there's your lot for the race in Austria. And we go again, the next one, Silverstone. That's going to be trouble because it's the AR strongest track. So we'll see what happens. Either way, that is it for this one. Let's move into upgrades. Well, we're back in the office and we have 10 days until the next race at Silverstone. We have one upgrade that has just arrived for the chassis and 2 more on the way for the engine. We're going to go ahead and add to that. So we're going to not waste any time. We're going to jump straight into the chassis. The brake disc width has arrived and we're going to go ahead and add the front nose cone structure, because this one is a massive upgrade. It gives a lot of performance and it's going to really help us out, so we're going to get that on. It's also not that expensive, which is going to be also a small little bonus. To add to that, can we afford anything else over here? Maybe the heat dispersing wheel rims. What about the powertrain? We've got the final engine power upgrade on the way. We'll go for the rotor speed. Why not? Let's get that on. That is not going to arrive in time for Silverstone. That will take 14 days, but still it should help us out. And then elsewhere, first of all, we get no R&D points again for the failure, which is great. Thank you, team. We're going to go ahead and do some activities now. We're going to get the key ones out of the way. So we're going to do area department focus for a few resource points. We'll go for power equipment upgrade. And then we'll throw on some G-Force training as well. So that will be for Michael Schumacher. With that said, I think we're looking pretty decent, so let's skip ahead and let's see if all of these upgrades arrive before the next race. Well, it's good news. The exhaust upgrade has arrived, so that's a positive, and also supplier upgrade from Ferrari. So the pistons, the lightweight pistons, a small little improvement from Ferrari, but thank you very much to them for bringing that. So right now Ferrari have brought a couple of upgrades. We're starting to get back where we want to be. 2 more to go. The next one is going to be in November, which is quite a way away, to be fair. So this is going to be the last one that we get for a while. But yeah, we're looking pretty decent. We've got 2 more upgrades on the way. So the car's constantly improving with the upgrades that we've got arriving. We're more or less there, to be honest. I know we're second from bottom, but it doesn't tell the full story, because all we have left really is these 2 brake upgrades, which are the ones that broke my brakes in the first place. So they're not really performance related in my mind. Also, we've only got this hydraulics one to get, and then after that we've already done all of these, and then we've got the tyre ones, which again are not really outright performance related. They're just to improve tyre wear, so maybe long term, but 1 lap pace is not really going to make a difference in qualifying. So we've only really got the hydraulics left, and then in the powertrain we've got all the engine power ones. We've got pretty much only 1 to go on the ERS. And these are fuel consumption ones, which are not really outright performance related ones. Like over 1 lap, it's not going to make a difference. So yeah, I think honestly we're not far off a maxed out car, really. So I think with these next few upgrades we've got on the way, it should do the trick. And I think after Silverstone, we should have a car to fight and be back in the mix. Now, I wanted to check one more thing before we wrap up the episode, and that is Michael Schumacher. Now, I don't know why he's just not been that quick. I know you guys are saying about difficulty, but honestly, trust me, I've been playing these games for so many years. I do, many seasons, every single game cycle. Something tells me that something's not right, but he's 92 focus, he's happy. Still 100 rated, so yeah, his contract expires after the next race, so we're going to have to renew it. Hopefully he wants to stick around. But anyway, the next race is Silverstone. We'll see how we get on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more for daily F1 content on my channel, guys, and we're going to try and get over this painful season together. With that said, as always, a big shout out to the members of the channel for supporting my content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. But that's it from me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next one.